Welcome back to another Anime Rambles. Today we are going to be talking about my first impressions on Studio Trigger's new series, SSS, SSSS period Dynazeon. I think that's right. SSSS Dynazeon. All right. So, what do I think about this series so far? Well, I think it's got potential. It's definitely a lot like SSS Gridman, and I hope it's not following the exact same formula. Because what made SSS Gridman work as a solid 6 or 7 show is the fact that it had a really original concept. The fact that it delivered on interesting threads that were not predictable at first. Now, if this follows the same format as SS's Gridman, it's going to feel repetitive. It's not going to have that original spark. But Studio Trigger's been always been great at keeping it fresh and vibrant. So I'm not really too worried about that aspect of things. Now, if I had to summarize the first episode, I feel like it did a pretty solid job at introducing us to most of the characters. Um, it did a pretty weak job at introducing us to the power system. We basically had our protagonists summon SSS.DYNAZENON and beat this mecha kaiju looking thing. If I had to relate this back to Gridman, we're probably going to find out that there's some quote unquote god in this realm. And if I had to guess, it's probably going to be Yume, just because she has that same mystique that the previous antagonist had in SS's Gridman, but she has been shown to have parents in this world and to have a connection to this world. So that kind of throws me out of the loop a little bit. But maybe it's showing her like real home life, and maybe this is her like escape in her mind. Our protagonist, if I could remember his name, but he a good boy. Not this pink haired lad, the blue boy next to him. He seems to be an so far a generic nice guy protagonist. Very simple, very basic, a good device to propel the plot forward. So far, he doesn't seem interesting at all. I'm much more interested in Gauma. I think that's how it's pronounced. Gauma? Gauma. He seems much more interesting. He introduced himself as something of, well, it wasn't a monster tamer. It might have been a monster tamer, monster battler, or something like that. He seemed to be in a pretty rough shape of it. He has no connections to anyone in this world so far, so he may be a quote unquote god of this world, and this might be his power fantasy escape. And he seems like the most interesting character so far in terms of where he can go from where he is. Because he seemed pretty much on the brink of starving when our protagonist met him, and he seemed interesting. Now, what we know about our protagonist that is interesting and not generic. His mother, he went on dinner with his mother and some like colleague of hers, and he gave Yuma money, and Yuma is working for money. But he took the money that this man gave him and he donated all of it. And he didn't just put it in, he like folded it in half and threw it away. So something is going on with this man or his mother, and for some reason he won't accept this monetary value from him. Um Maybe he doesn't like this man, maybe he's not actually working for money or some different reason. It's going to be interesting to see how it propels forward. So in our first episode, um, our female character, if please go back to the slide with her name, please. All right, what have I? Boop boop. There we go. Yume. Oh my god, please stop. I did a dummy. Okay. Yume invited our protagonist Yomogi to a date to meet at a certain spot. she left him, she stood him up on purpose, but she was just far enough away so he wouldn't see her, but she would watch him just standing in the rain, waiting for 40 minutes for her to show up. This obviously makes uh, Gauma very upset because our protagonist, Yomogume, oh my god, Yomogi, um, saved him, and he believes he has a debt to Yomogi. So he confronts Yume, and it was like, "Hey, what the hell? This is BS." And then that's when they see this kaiju attacking on the other side of town. SSS dies. The robot gets summoned, grabs all three of them, puts them in a mech, and then it was like, yeah, we need one more person, and just grabs some first random dude that it finds. Why? I don't know. It just kind of does. And that's this boy with the no eyes. We don't really know too much about Koyome and Chise. What we know so far is that they're cousins. Koyomi is older, and Chise doesn't go to school for whatever reason. And yeah, that's all we know about them so far. I hope this, how I think the story will proceed. I hope it doesn't go in the exact direction that SSS Gridman did. I feel like that would make the story a little bit more too predictable. SSS Gridman didn't give a single fuck about its power system or the rules of this world because it's all make-believe. That's okay. If this goes a different route, I hope it actually explains why things are happening instead of just saying, yep, they're happening for reasons, and that's all you're going to find out about that. So, yeah, I hope things go well. Please play. There we go. I hope this takes a different turn that SSS Gridman did. I hope we get to see why the characters are actually why they were chosen for this. Who this monster tamer character is. I hope there's no quote unquote god of this world, and it's more about character development and world building instead of just saying the world doesn't matter because it's all imagination. I know that it's taking a similar route, especially having that same SSSS in its name. This being Gridman, the previous one being Gridman, and this one being Dynazenon. Wish it chose a little bit easier name to pronounce, but I think it should be a decent show to watch. But if it follows the same plot points that Gridman did, it's going to become repetitive and boring pretty quick. But I have faith in Studio Trigger to at least make something that's fun to watch. I don't really think this is going to have some big message at the end of this, but I could be wrong. Studio Trigger has been known to try to hand fist different shows to people. Anyway, that's my thoughts on the first episode, my first look at the series and what I think so far. I would like to hear what you guys think down in the comments below. I have another video talking about Studio Trigger's formula. If you want to check that out, that will also be linked below. And yeah, leave a like on the video if you liked it, and subscribe for more content like this. I'm Bottlecap, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Bye-bye.